Hello and welcome back to the From the Terrace Podcast. Charles is laughing already. Look at him go.
I don't know why. Every time you say hello, it just triggers something in my brain.
It's because it's like a completely different sort of mood from the rest of the pod, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I give this false impression that we're going to be upbeat and
Good.
yeah, good. This week, we don't only have Regan and Charles. Jack and Wayne have faded away again into the mist.
No, they're filming.
There's probably have they?
No, yeah, they're filming us or something.
Oh yeah.
Behind the camera.
We are joined by Sean Higginbottom, also known as Higgy. You right, Higgs?
Hello.
Big Celtic fan.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, mate. We're gonna get on to Celtic probably first.
That was a good introduction.
Yeah. We're gonna get.
Mate.
We're gonna get on to Scotland first, I think. Yeah, I'm terrible.
In isolation, I'd rather be anywhere else other than here.
Yeah, I've just lied to you. I hate it. Why am I on the pod? Yeah. Anyway, right, we're going to get on to Scotland first because we're going to be talking about this podcast about all of the leagues and how they're dealing with the coronavirus and whether they're going to come back or not, whether seasons will be voided. Higgy, Scotland's, they've decided to finish their season on points per game, which means Celtic have been crowned champions, obviously. For the 9th time in a row, is it? I think it is.
It's 9 in a row, yeah.
Is that the record as well? Because Rangers wanted to get it back this year, didn't they?
Yeah, they had 9 in a row, and I think it was 2002. I think it was Henrik Larsson's first season, and we won the league that season, and we stopped 10 in a row for them.
So you only got to get one more, and then you've got the record then.
Yeah.
But So Celtic's the Scottish League season was ended early, and Celtic were obviously champions, and Hearts were relegated. But we'll go off the Celtic point of view first. How do you feel winning the league in that way? I mean, obviously you want to keep the record up, but does it feel sort of numb and not really, or are you actually enjoying it as much as you would usually?
I mean, it's a bit of both really. Obviously, I would like to have won the league like properly, because I think we would have been able to do so. We have the capabilities to do so. But it's also quite enjoyable in this kind of sense because the majority of Scottish teams voted for this, and it was only a select few that didn't agree with it, Rangers being one of the teams that didn't like the idea. So seeing a lot of the Rangers fans on social media crying and complaining that it's tainted is quite enjoyable today, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I mean, the rivalry between Rangers and Celtic is just ridiculous. Because to be honest, let's be honest, Celtic basically get the bragging rights because they're always winning at the moment. But Rangers seem to think that they're like the moral club, and they seem to always want to get one over on Celtic. But clearly the rest of Scotland doesn't care about Rangers that much because they wouldn't have voted for that otherwise, would they?
No.
What are your thoughts on Hearts then getting relegated? Because I've got here they were only 4 points off Hamilton and 6 points off Ross County and St Mirren. And although there was still only a few games left of the season, they still did have a realistic chance of staying up. So do you think it's really fair that they've been relegated, or do you think it is justified because obviously they were the worst team on points per game?
Again, there's a story on both sides. I mean, it's fair in the sense that I think Hearts did have a really, really poor season from start to obviously finish now. They weren't great, but realistically, I couldn't really see them clawing their way out because even if you finish above bottom, you still have to play a playoff. Yeah, and I couldn't see them winning that. So it's obviously unfair that a team has to go down, but everyone across Scotland voted for that kind of system of only one team going down and one team going up, and that would be the top team. So it's fair in the sense that they've asked everyone's opinion.
Yeah, the vote needs a 50% majority, I think it is, isn't it? It's obviously Hearts and Rangers probably against it, but I can be honest, imagine that they were probably the only teams who voted against it. I would have thought, because in
the top division, yeah.
Do you know if Hamilton will still have to play a playoff, or have they decided to be kept up? Do you know?
I don't think they've actually decided on what they want to do with that. I presume they'll probably keep Hamilton up and just.
Yeah, you would have thought so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they'll carry on the season next season with Hamilton in the Premiership.
Yeah, that's what they seem to be doing with a lot of the other leagues that we'll get onto. They seem to be leaning towards keeping teams in a division rather than they're going to try and minimise relegation and promotion as much as they can, it seems. Yeah, well, with last thing on the Scottish League then, with Hearts are obviously quite a big club, aren't they? So how do you feel about I feel like the Scottish League's had quite a big shift in recent years. There's quite a few big clubs that have ended up going down into the Scottish Championship. Do you, as a Celtic fan, do you mind having a lot of the bigger clubs down and playing some different teams, smaller sides, or do you prefer having the bigger clubs and more of a, I don't know, I'm assuming it's just got a bit of a different feeling if you're going to places like Hibs, Hearts every week, and Dundee United have been down in the Championship for a while now.
I mean, it's obviously good for the teams in the second division to come up and play the likes of, Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen and that. Hearts did go down not too long ago as well, but they came straight back up. Same with Hibs. But again, it's a nice change for when the league splits off into the top 6 and bottom 6, where you play the third time round. It's obviously a nice change for another team to be up there in the top 6 compared to Hearts. But that would only be for next season, I think. I think they'll come straight back up.
Okay. Cool. Right. We'll get on to maybe a more generic question now. I'll get Regan and Charles involved. First one was that, how do you think seasons should be finished? Charles or Regan, take this one. How do you think there should be voided? Do you think points per game? Do you think we should wait? How do you think seasons should be finished?
Well, I think it's interesting because when you look at a league like, for example, the Scottish League, I think teams that have voted for ending the season, they have different kind of reasons. Because if you look at teams near the bottom, there's kind of a general rule that teams near the bottom have a less of a financial kind of structure. They're not as financially well off as the teams at the top. So teams at the bottom are going to say, right, we need to end the season here because financially we can't afford to keep going with the season. So then you're going to have teams in the middle that will go, well, we may as well end it because we've had a nothing season. And then you might go look at teams at the top like Celtic, they go, well, this benefits us. And I kind of overall lean towards, I think they should find a way of finishing the games. Because if you look at something like the Qatar, you know how they had the Qatar World Cup that's in 2022? The proposition there is that you're going to play the games in the winter because obviously the weather conditions don't suit it. And it looks like FIFA and all the other leagues had a way of adding in extra fixtures in obviously different times. So to an extent, I think obviously it's easy for me to say, oh, well, just play the games and find a way to do it. Obviously it's not that easy, but I feel like there's always an option. And I feel like to an extent, certain teams have reasons like financial, either financial or just for lack of, oh, well, we may as well quit it because we didn't achieve anything from this season. So I think to some extent, it's the easy way out to say, oh, let's just null and void the season. But overall, I kind of lean towards trying to finish the league games. But it's obviously, in theory, it's probably not that easy, but that's kind of just as a football fan, that's what I'd ideally like to see happen.
Does everyone else agree, or do you think maybe it is being done for the best ending the seasons early? Or
I think I agree with what Charles said, mainly because as a football fan, you want to watch and you deserve to watch every game that's possible. And how many games are we off now for Prem? 9, 10? I think we're 9 now.
Championship, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Charles is right that we're not entitled to be able to watch these games, but I think it's good for the footballing fans community that we watch it if there's a chance to. But there is still health risk involved, obviously, because it was only a few weeks ago where a few Brighton players or a few Watford players had it, and I don't think that. I think they should go ahead, but only if there's no there's what am I trying to say? That there's no risk involved at all. Because if they bring it back, but it doesn't benefit one club, then they shouldn't do it anyway. It doesn't matter about the 11 clubs want it, but 10 clubs don't. I think in this scenario, it should be every single club. It needs to be unanimous for it to bring back. And I'm not sure at the moment that it will be unanimous, and I don't know when it will be, because it'll get to a point where
it'll be a breaking point.
It'll get to a point where they can't continue it anymore, because they need to ideally focus on next season. But when you go down the lower league, especially in England, you don't know what implications that will have on knock-on effects of championship, promotion, relegation, or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, well, personally, I think the fairest way to do it is in an ideal situation is just wait for the coronavirus to end, or at least get to a point where lockdown ends, everything gets back to sort of relatively normal, and crowds can come back. And I think football should literally just be on hold. And the reason I think that, and I know a lot of football fans get frustrated with it. It seemed like everyone was loving it on Twitter, weren't they? With the Bundesliga was back. Saw Higgy was supporting Hertha Berlin. Everyone seemed to love when the football was back. But to me, it feels like I think football fans could go without. I could go without watching the Bundesliga and a couple of other leagues play behind closed doors. You know, like how you saw the Dortmund celebration, it was all a bit naff, wasn't it? Because they couldn't touch each other. And I just thought, I'd rather wait and it come back properly and be decided properly than sort of, it feels like it's being a bit half-hearted at the moment. It feels like it's just been half-assed just to try and get through to the end of the season. And I know it's extreme circumstances, but we'll get onto it later more. But I think personally they should wait, and football should just come back when it's available to come back properly.
Well, I don't think Germany have made the wrong decision in playing out their games behind closed doors, because obviously, I mean, you don't want to get in, we're not getting into this politically particularly, but obviously Germany have dealt with the whole situation in a much more effective way, which means they can do that. Obviously, I know what you mean in terms of if in the Premier League, obviously we'll be going to the Premier League later.
Yeah.
To do that obviously doesn't have the same effect, but you could argue that within Germany's, current state being obviously a bit healthier than ours, it's probably, I think what Germany's doing is fine personally. Obviously it's not great. I didn't really care to watch it, but I think that's probably, in their circumstances, probably the best thing that they can do.
Well, Regan, actually, before we get back onto sort of English, then, as soon as we talk about Germany now, what do you want to sort of go on to the Bundesliga and what other foreign leagues have proposed and what they're planning?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, do you want me to talk about the results of the Bundesliga, or do you just want to talk about
you could go
the other leagues, what they're doing?
Go through what it was sort of like the first weekend, because to be honest, I personally didn't watch it. So
I only watched the very first game because I was busy for the rest of the weekend. I watched the Dortmund Schalke game, and it's obviously we were supposed to watch Wolfsburg and Dortmund, and we looked at and we did all the podcasts before about the atmosphere would be amazing, and that's one thing synonymous with Dortmund is their atmosphere. They're literally the yellow wall of Borussia Dortmund, and just watching that throughout it just, especially from a Dortmund point of view, it just didn't see the same. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad football's back, like football you haven't seen before, even though Premier League years are the most undefeated show on Sky Sports. But it didn't feel, if it was good to be back, it just didn't feel right. I don't know if the players agreed with it coming back, because it's sort of like, did you see when they tried to pretend to clap the yellow wall at the end? It seemed like they were making a mockery of it as well. Yeah, but I think that's what they did. They've done that ever since the yellow wall was a thing. Yeah, I know, but clapping an empty yellow wall, don't you think that's a bit? Yeah, it's a bit stupid, but yeah. It seems like a bit of a mockery to me.
They said it was an appreciation to the fans, because isn't there like this app or something in Germany for the fans or something that they can interact with the game?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there is, yeah. So they sort of did it as like a gesture, really, rather than...
Yeah.
I just thought it looked quite strange. I thought it looked...
It'd be cool if they could just put little phones on each seat and you just...
yeah.
Did you see the thing in... Did you see the thing in Korea or... Where was the thing in Korea or China or something where they had... What was it? They had sex dolls on the seat. I mean, I don't think Germany should do that, but...
They had to apologise to the fans straight after because the fans found it really insulting.
Yeah, did you see one of them? They gave it tits, fucking hell, massive. Just behind the stadium.
It's absolutely absurd, isn't it? How they thought that was a good idea.
But going back to the Bundesliga, clearly, I don't think, especially for the first few minutes, I think they got the whole... Especially the very beginning was really weird because they did... it was all over Twitter about the coin toss where the referee and then the two captains were about 3 meters apart. I'm like, what's that? Why? Why are you keeping social distance there? But 30 seconds later, you're diving into challenges and you're going shoulder to shoulder. Like, it might as well either have it properly and have all the things together, or just stand 2 meters apart from everyone the whole time so someone can run through and score.
This is what I mean by I think it's half-assed. It's like
Yeah.
when the coronavirus first came about, I was at the football and they did do you remember that weekend before it all got shut down, they were saying no handshakes?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not no handshakes, yet players, instead of doing no handshakes, were doing like fist pumps. And then they were playing a game of football where you get tackled, you stand close to each other, everything. And then at the end, they all shook hands. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, what a half-assed effort.
Yeah, Bill, you know what that is though? That's so like now when there's like a sort of induction to like what the Premier League did or whatever league did to stop the coronavirus.
They no handshake.
Faced by going, oh look, we did so and so.
Yeah.
Really do anything, but it's kind because back then we didn't really take it that seriously. Really, there was still that kind of we
blow over.
Well. And so they had to take some precautions. Still probably thinking that it wasn't going to come to anything. But yeah, so yeah, it's just kind of to save face. But obviously, look where we are now.
Yeah, I think Germany. I'm not sure. I don't know much about. I might have to email Peter Ufterhide, but I think it's more at a point. It was quite economic where they just went, okay, we know football is one of the biggest drags internationally and nationally. If we bring it back as quick as we can to get money flowing back in. But I think they've just rushed it so quickly that they haven't thought about the safety of the teams or the players or the coaches, which I don't think's the best way forward. I think that especially from international point of views, because obviously as England, we were one of the last countries to be majorly affected by it. So our decision process is a lot longer. But to have these nations come back already, where I think Germany has still got around similar death rates to what we have, and we're nowhere near starting. Nowhere near. What was the news? We only started training or something today, and they're playing games with people that have been staying away from each other.
It came out today that Premier League sides are to start training tomorrow.
And yet you got teams in the Bundesliga that are challenging and standing in a wall for a free kick.
Yeah.
And in a corner, all within about a 3 meter radius.
It's true, isn't it? So they all stand in a wall for a free kick, and then when it comes to a celebration, we can't go near to each other.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. What are other leagues doing then? We'll move on from Germany.
The first league to do it, which was I'd say the catalyst for our decision, was obviously Holland with the Eredivisie. They cancelled it straight on the spot. There's no promotion or anything.
I think they've come out a bit too strong at it, personally, Holland. Just
because
they
did, yeah.
The health minister said that no sport will resume in the country until there's a vaccine. Well, I mean, you're dreaming, mate, because a vaccine ain't coming around for ages. So I think that's although it technically works and it's best for health reasons, it's not a very good long-term plan. I don't think they have in Holland, personally.
Yeah, I don't get it, because they basically cancelled the football. So basically, this whole season was null and void. Ajax are not getting the championship, even though they were level on points. But then, when was it? I think it was a couple of weeks ago. They've announced that they're going to open leisure centres and swimming pools and theme parks for all the Dutch people. But that's how many? It's about 20,000 people you can get into a theme park. That's similar to what you can get in Eredivisie games. Why, even if you allocate people 2 seats apart from each other, or just have them behind closed doors?
I think the reason football's had such a drastic effect on it, it's because football is so big that it's sort of like a political sort of showing off, isn't it? Like a standpoint with football. Football is like a catalyst for society. So if they brought football back, everyone would be like, oh, well, everything should be back, shouldn't it? So that's why they don't do it.
That's a good point, actually.
It is though, isn't it? Because you'd get everyone else in society if football came back, but you weren't still allowed. It would.
Yeah.
I think they were too like you said. I think they were too drastic with their decision and their reasoning that we're not bringing it back until we have something that can stop this. If they follow that the whole time, there might not be any Eredivisie for 2 years.
It's not realistic.
Who knows? Why? What's the point?
I mean, the pro of doing that though is that theoretically next season they're going to be the best prepared out of everyone when it starts again. So you could say that they're thinking in that sort of line as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this all comes down to it's all well and good, mate, taking a standpoint of him. But we all know at the end of the day, the reason decisions are being made and the reason
Financially,
it's money.
Yeah.
If there was no money in the Premier League, or the amount there is, they wouldn't bring it back. There's no chance. They wouldn't.
No, they would have cancelled it already, 100%.
All the decisions are made for money, and that's why Eredivisie is actually one of the sort of lower invested leagues in terms of like TV money and all that sort of thing compared to the Premier League and everything.
Yeah, the same with the next league, which is Ligue 1. Yes, it's a major league with some of the major players, but when you compare it to the leagues that we see are coming back and are training now, they're not on the same caliber. They don't bring that sponsorship money, even though next season they'll be sponsored by Uber Eats. So I can't wait to cover that, and neither can Bill. But I don't think it's the best.
Last year.
What?
It was Domino's last season, wasn't it?
It was like
second division.
Yeah, we made the same joke on the pod when we talked about the second division. Domino's or Bill over that.
Yeah, but apart from major sponsorship, I don't see. Well, as in, you see the Bundesliga on BT Sport. You see La Liga on ITV. You see the Serie A on BT. You never see. Well, I don't see Ligue 1 games.
No,
really.
It is on BT. It's just not very.
It's not as regular, is it?
Yeah, it's not highlighted as much as the other leagues.
Wait, so were PSG given the league?
Yeah, they were.
Oh well, let's not even argue that. That's.
I mean, they were 12 points clear, so you can understand why they were given the league, and teams like Ajax in the Eredivisie won.
I think a lot of the more interesting things, with a lot of the leagues, is relegation.
Yeah,
sort those out because I mean it's easy just to hand a team a title. It's how you decide a club's future by relegating.
The implications of a title, yeah.
Yeah, the implications of a title aren't as drastic as getting relegated, are they? So.
there was because two teams get relegated from Ligue 1. The first one was Toulouse, but they were going to lose anyway because they were 14 away. They were 14 points away from safety. So there's not much point.
They're relegated then.
What?
Has it been decided that they're relegated?
Yeah. They've been relegated as well as Amiens, and they were only 4 points away.
They
from
contested
safety.
it though, Amiens, quite heavily.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Well, Hearts are contesting theirs in Scotland as well. They're going to court, aren't they, about it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have made more. Well, I haven't actually seen the league. I don't know the Ligue 2 table to see if there was like one clear champion, and if there was, I think they should have just relegated Toulouse and brought up one instead to relegate Amiens when they got a big chance of saving themselves. I don't think that's fair.
Right. So, speaking about promotion and relegation, let's go back to England for a bit. And a lot of the leagues in England are dealing with it in different ways. So you've got the Premier League. There was all this stuff about a project to restart, which looks like it is going to happen. They are going to start up again. But there was a few clubs, West Ham, Brighton, Villa, all didn't want it to go ahead. There was the thing about Brighton leaking information about players having coronavirus, what a lot of people thought was tactical. To try and stop the league restarting, and it seemed quite. Some of the comments I think it was made by Karen Brady were absolutely outrageous. It's just obviously they want to stay in the Premier League, they need the money, don't they? But and so it's just come out that Premier. It is going to come. It's also going to be played at neutral venues. Is that? I don't know if that's actually been decided yet. But that's.
I'm not sure actually. To be fair,
it said I think it's going to be played at neutral venues across the.
Yeah, that was an idea that was tossed around, but I don't think it's set in stone.
It doesn't seem very doable, does it? Really? No. I mean, how's that going to? I don't see how that's going to happen. The Championship. I know players are back in training. I think today because I saw Brentford players that were flying back to England to get back into training.
Bill's looking out of his window with his binoculars, just saying, "Here he comes!"
Higgy was letting him, helping him land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now in Bristol. Yeah.
Yeah. But they look like games are going to be played behind closed doors. I think the most interesting ones are the promotion and relegation race because I mean, it does look like the Championship Premier League is technically going to be done fairly because the games will be played out. As much as I disagree with the way it's going to be done. League Two, they're doing it on points per game. Obviously, there's still quite a few games to go in two. They have, at the moment, it looks like Swindon, Crewe and Plymouth are to be promoted. And Cheltenham, who are in fourth, might get another automatic promotion spot and instead of doing the playoffs, but that's not been decided yet, I don't think.
They're fifth at the moment as well.
But on points per game, they're fourth.
Yeah.
But the most interesting one with that is, so I don't know if people agree if the points per game thing's fair, if teams should be, but Stevenage, obviously because of the Bury situation, there's only one team who are going to go down from League Two this year. It's getting voted now, and it looks like it's quite unlikely that Stevenage aren't going to get relegated, and just no one's going to go down from League Two. And I mean, so Barrow are going to come up into the League Two.
Was it on Barrow, like very like?
Well, Barrow are going to come up into League Two because two teams were going to go up and one was going to go down because of the Bury situation.
Okay, yeah.
So two teams were going to come up. So Barrow are going to come up, and then it should have been a team through the playoffs who are going to come up with Barrow, and then Stevenage go down. But it looks like the team in the playoffs of the National League aren't going to get the chance, and Stevenage are just going to stay in League Two. And personally, I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if
that's a bit of it's conflicting. It's conflicting, isn't it? The two stances.
It's I know. Like I was just saying, how relegation is massive compared to promotion, really, in terms of how much for a club. But Stevenage are so far low at the League Two. It's absolutely ridiculous. That I think that
they do deserve it.
It's off Macclesfield, and that's only because Macclesfield got like a 10-point deduction. They're that low.
They should.
There was an idea chucked around. I think it was about the Championship, because there was an idea of just like having the season as it is. The top three go up and the bottom three go down. I think it was a Lee Bowyer interview on Sky. And he was saying something like, before this all had happened, Charlton were only in the relegation zone for 6 days prior to that. And he suggested maybe doing something where they possibly ended the season halfway, where everyone had played each other once, and then do the table from that. I'm not sure if that would have been...
Would you prefer that to points per game? Or what do you think is the best way to do it then? If it is,
I mean, personally, from a Celtics point of view, we've still won the league anyway, even if we've played everyone once. But I wouldn't say it was a bad idea where everyone's played each other once, and it's kind of fair in that sense. But then points per game, again, it doesn't reflect where you actually are in the table, because as it stands in Scotland, it was like Motherwell who finished third, and Motherwell get to qualify for. Well, they do the qualifiers for Europa League next season, which is quite a strange one compared to like Aberdeen, who normally is that third spot.
I saw the final Scottish table as well, and you had I can't remember what teams were. There was two teams in the middle of the league, and one team had like 4 points less than the other one, but they were above just because of points per game.
Yeah, they'd lost like less games or something. Yeah.
So it feels like a lot of teams who have played less will get an advantage.
Yeah.
Can I just go back to what I think that Lee Bowyer statement is such a stupid thing to say. Not because what he's saying is outrageous, but you can spin it any way you like so that it suits your team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Charlton, let's just do it after the first 18 games. Well, you're going to say that because you had a ridiculous dip in form.
Yeah.
I think it's not dangerous, but if you've got all these different clubs coming up with these different ways, instead of coming to some sort of agreement, it's just going to be messy. Someone like Charlton going, oh, let's finish after 18, or someone else going, let's do it off points predicted, which would then suit that team. Like, it's just stupid. Like, that Bowyer comment does annoy me a bit, to be honest.
That's like Mark Warburton saying that because QPR are in the playoffs in the first 10 games, that they should finish it after 10 when they were like third.
Oh, but he's a bold tosser, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But that's something he'd say, wouldn't it? Because he's a businessman. He's like, we get the most money. This end.
For the Rangers manager, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. What an absolute tosser that bloke is.
Yeah.
What is that? What that is?
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion on it, Bill? Because obviously it doesn't matter to Sean, and if it's points per game for us, we'd go up.
Well, yeah, I was going to get onto this. Should we get onto the discussion of whether you would like your team to get promoted? Because me and Regan discussed this quite a lot. Because obviously, me and Regan are in. Well, Brentford and Fulham are both in the race for the Championship. Fulham are third, Brentford are fourth. We're in. Are we fourth? Or are we fifth? I think we're fourth.
You're fourth.
Yeah, we're fourth. And in the playoff race, and Regan has said if the season was to be done on points per game or be played behind closed doors, which it looks like it's going to be, he would happily see Fulham get promoted, and he still wants them to go up. Whereas I've disagreed, and I think if the season's played behind closed doors, I'd rather Brentford not go up. Charles and Higgy, get your thoughts first. Do you think? So basically, my perspective is that Brentford I've never seen Brentford in the Premier League. If they do get into the Premier League and I can't be there when they do it, I think the whole joy around promotion is the actual promotion rather than that I'm going to be in the Premier League next
Can
year.
I just say that I agree with your point of view of it. Obviously, my point of view on the Fulham situation is just different.
So what's your view on the Fulham situation then? We'll get Higgy and Charles' sort of non-biased view.
I think that the only difference between yours and my point of view is that, like you said, you've never seen your team go up before. And to have that first feeling of it going up, you want to be there.
Yeah.
But for us, we literally went up 2 seasons ago. So it's not. Yes, it's still an amazing feeling, but compared to a team like actually every team, apart from West Brom around us, that we know that feeling of going up or playing in the Premier League. So I feel like if we just got it done anyway and went up, it would still mean something to us. But I think that the 2 seasons ago really meant something because our grind through it.
I guess I get
from your point of view.
I guess I get that because Fulham, it's not so much. Fulham's look on promotion isn't so much that they want the joy of promotion. Is it? Fulham fans are probably frustrated they're in the Championship.
Yeah, we just want to be up there.
You just want to be in the Premier League and playing against them because you feel you deserve to be there. Whereas us is a completely different sort of. Ours is literally the thing.
Yeah, yours has been a rise, and ours has been more of a fall.
10 years ago, if you told a Brentford fan they'd been in the Premier League, they wouldn't have believed you. There's no chance. Like, this is the thing. Like, it's a completely different sort of scenario on it.
That's the main thing.
I think most football fans, I know it's different because the Championship does have a lot of yo-yo clubs. Like West Brom, if they just got taken up now, I'm sure they'd enjoy it, wouldn't they? They'd be happy because they go and yo-yo between the leagues a lot. But I think most football fans wouldn't. I mean, actually, I don't know. Maybe they would. But what do you think, Hickey? Say you were in our situation. Would you like to get promoted under these?
If I was in your situation as a Brentford fan, I would totally agree with you in the sense of I wouldn't really want to go up this season because it is the whole joy of going up. You know that you've won promotion to the Premier League for the first time, and I think if as a Brentford fans point of view, I think you'd have the capabilities to go to push for that again the following season when it's all back to normal. So it's not really too bad for you guys. But then I agree with Regan as well. But again, from the Fulham's point of view, it's Fulham are kind of they're meant to be in the Premier League. You know, they've been there for so many years. That's kind of like that they don't really deserve to be kind of in the Championship from their point of view. But I would say if it was me, I would probably want to. I probably wouldn't want to go up.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, the point is, at this point, we're all talking speculatively. It's like if the scenario were to happen, what would you want for your club?
It's all scenarios, isn't it? To be honest, it's the problem.
Yeah, we are playing it out in our head to some extent. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the thing. Like football is such an emotional and ingrained kind of thing in your life. So when something like a virus comes, it's like bang, logical way of dealing with this. We need to stop people dying. And so when you look at something like, and when it comes to something like football, which is so personal and emotional, obviously the views are going to be conflicting based on a case-to-case basis. And that's why when I refer back to something like Lee Bowyer, he would want it to work for him. And obviously everyone's going to have an opinion on how it would work for them personally. So for example, no one's wrong in what they're saying. But obviously talking on a hypothetical sense, you'd say, oh, I know what you mean about Brentford because it was like Griffin Park, we're going to get promoted.
Yeah, it's basically come at the worst time for Brentford fans.
And it kind of has come at the worst time for you. And obviously, like you say, Regan, hypothetically, Fulham, you're in a situation where you kind of, for your fans' sake, you kind of need promotion when you look at obviously the amount of money you've spent. But then we're in a virus. So it's kind of, I don't know, because I don't really have that sort of connection with a football club, so I can kind of look at it a bit more objectively in that sense. Because whereas it's intrinsically impossible for you to look at it completely objectively, and obviously we are talking hypothetically as well. But I don't know. I don't really know how to concise my words. But if it were to hypothetically be played out all the rest of the games, Bill, I'd probably disagree with everyone.
To be fair, in a sense, we're all right. It's just based on the scenario of your club, especially like in the record books. It's like West Brom and Fulham get promoted. You're like, oh yeah, they're back up there. But you think of in the record books of Brentford and Leeds as well. You're back in the Premier League, but it's not the way you really want it. It doesn't. It's not that feeling that you expect and want from that. From something you've been pushing for ages.
This is the problem with the whole debate of every single fan of every club is going to be basically argue what's best for their club, aren't they?
You're always going to do it.
I've always gone with the argument that I think we should wait until the coronavirus is over, get back to playing football in front of fans. That's it. When we can, maybe wait months for it. And I personally think, I still think I'm right on this, is that we should prioritise this season over next season. I agree. The only reason next season's getting any priority is because of money, because of the TV deals and all that. That's the only reason. They should prioritise this season. But
it's not even enjoyable to watch these games behind closed doors, because obviously watching the Bundesliga this weekend, it was almost just watching like a training match.
Yeah.
And you could see the players weren't really giving it like that extra, like 110%. You know, some players just doing like kind of just like stray passes or fancy flicks, like stuff that you would do normally in training. But obviously it would be 100% different if there was like a full crowd at the game. So I don't even think that the players are really up for it either.
Yeah, you're not really getting any home or away advantage really at all, are you?
No.
Which means technically playing behind closed doors for us isn't fair.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't fair because say you had more home games left of the season, you're not getting any advantage from playing at home, really, are you? Apart from the travel. But yeah, I think with Brentford, to be honest, if we didn't have this last season at Griffin Park and it was like about playing the last game there, I would have just said no this season. To be honest, that has been my view. I would have said that just because, to be honest, if we're gonna go, if it's either go up behind closed doors or don't go up, I'd rather not go up.
But I mean, that's the thing. As is the point, it's just not fair, though, is it? That's the whole point of this whole thing.
Nothing's really fair.
Nothing's fair, but it's just how we've got to deal with it, that sort of thing. Yeah. That's obviously hard for football fans to deal with it emotionally because it's just so conflicting. Because it isn't fair, is it? Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't put it to majority vote, because if it did go down to that, it would have been null and void, 100%.
Yeah.
Just for the clubs in the middle, teams like Derby, Swansea, Stoke, Huddersfield, and even the relegation teams. I think the only teams that would not want it null and void Leeds, West Brom, Fulham, and maybe Forest, and obviously Brentford if because this is a Griffin Park.
It's quite hard for me as well, because if they do play the season behind closed doors, I'm going to be there, and it's really hard because we've got the best squad we've had in years. We all know if Brentford don't go up, it's going to get absolutely dismantled. We know that's going to happen.
Yeah. So
it's like, it's hard because I know if we don't go up, it's going to set us back a few years because we're going to have to rebuild again. But then, I guess it's sort of part of the process for when we do finally go up, or if we ever do, it'll feel more, it'll feel amazing, like it should do when you get promoted. But I don't know. But it's just when we're playing games behind closed doors, it's gonna feel weird because I'm gonna be like, I don't want us to win, which is gonna feel really weird. I'm gonna be there.
We're gonna be supporting the other side.
Brentford. The only game I won't be supporting the other side is Fulham, because we got Fulham first when we come back. So I hope we beat you in that one, and then I hope we lose every other game.
I've still got my ticket for that. I'm waiting.
I'm waiting. Yeah, they're gonna let you in. They'll do a plea. They'll let you in. Just
stick me at the top of the hammy end, and I'll just be there.
Mitro's on fire from the back. Right, before we get on to the, sort of the last few generic questions about how you would, sort of your experience of viewing if the season was played behind closed doors, we'll get on to, this sort of shows how everything's just opinion-based and everyone's just trying to find the best sort of way. League One is the most mental league at the moment. there's been a lot of teams have voted that a lot of teams look like they want the season to be null and void, or they want the season to be done on points per game. It's just like League Two was done. But Darren McAntony, who's the Peterborough owner, and he's quite vocal on Twitter a lot of the time. He's come out and he's sort of spearheaded this push for an idea of an 8-team mini league. So Rotherham and Coventry, who are currently the top two and would be on points per game, would get promoted. But then they would do Wickham, Oxford, Portsmouth, Peterborough, Sunderland, Doncaster and Gillingham in an 8-team playoff that was decided by quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals. And I don't know, get your viewpoint on it. I think personally, it's basically they're trying to get these teams involved in who all their owners are sort of for the idea, obviously, because get promoted. But at that point, how far down the league do you go for these playoffs?
Based on that, that's not fair, because you said, what is it, stop at Gillingham?
They've got Gillingham and Doncaster in there, who are teams who are pretty crap. They do not deserve to get promoted. Yeah, the team who's below those two is Ipswich. Surely Ipswich are going, why can't we be involved in this? Like,
Ipswich are above Gillingham.
But in points per game, I don't think they are. I think that's...
Oh, no, not in points per game, because they play one more game.
On points per game.
This is messy.
It's just really...
The only fair way in that would be to either null and void it or play the rest of the season behind closed doors, because any one of those 8 teams could have like a really horrible run of like losing 4 games in a row. Yeah. And there could be someone like Ipswich that go and win like 3 or 4 games and end up in the top 8. So it wouldn't be entirely fair, that whole top 8 mini league.
It's the perfect case of showing that obviously the Peterborough owners going to suggest that, because basically if they were to do top 2 and then the 4 places in the playoffs, on points per game, Peterborough 1 place outside the playoffs. That's why he's throwing a hissy fit about it. Mm-hmm. So it is just, I think it's the perfect example to sum up the whole coronavirus sort of debate. It's just that everyone's just trying to find what suits best them, isn't it? It just, that's what it feels like. Because, I mean, that's just an absurd suggestion. An 18 mini league down to a place. Like, what's that about? Isn't it?
Yeah, he's not taking into account, like, I mean, obviously, I don't know the other fixtures remaining, but Peterborough could have Coventry, Rotherham, Oxford, Portsmouth, Fleetwood left. And you have Ipswich that could have Bolton, Southend, Tranmere, Wimbledon, Rochdale.
Yeah. Mm. Well, I think we'll end up on... We'll sort of get a generic view of over everything rather than...
I'll give you a generic view.
Give me a generic view. Yeah, a generic view.
I'm reading off Wikipedia.
I'll say, Higgy was talking about it earlier. Right, we'll sort of get on to debate of football without fans, and we'll go with the Premier League because it's the league we all want to watch. Would you watch the Premier League if it was streamed live behind closed doors?
I mean, in a sense, I'd watch it because there's not really much else to watch. But then again, it's not the same. It's not the same atmosphere, the buzz before the game or anything. Because again, essentially, it's a training match. You hear everything that goes on the pitch. It's like you might as well go to your local park on a Sunday and watch a Sunday league game.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right, and it just feels really like forced as well. Because like I said earlier, the players don't give everything. They don't give 110%. So it's not the same
house rules.
Play those games. Yeah, house rules essentially.
Do survival. See Aubameyang score and then have to walk off the pitch.
Yeah, I just don't feel it would.
Let me rephrase the question then. Would you enjoy watching these games?
No.
Charles,
not enjoy it, no.
Do you think you enjoy? See, this is the debate. Do you enjoy football for the actual football being played, or do you think you enjoy it for the whole experience?
Well,
I've seen people argue with me on Twitter. Someone I know called Harry. He argued that he thinks most people watch football for the football.
Well, there is that, because otherwise we'd be watching cricket. You know what I mean? We'd be watching rugby if we didn't watch it for the football. And of course, that's such a stupid argument to make.
No, but I think it's the...
Why do you watch Friends? Well, yeah, because it's a TV show that I like. Well,
no, but football, cricket and rugby have sort of different atmospheres around them as well.
No, I get it. But of course there's going to be a point of the sport. Like, every sport has a crowd, therefore it's part of the sport. It's like, that is such a stupid thing. Like, well, yeah, we just watch it for the football. Well, otherwise it would just be a stadium with no sport going on.
Yeah.
Of course there's an element of we watch it for the sport, otherwise we'd be watching nothing. So yeah, but...
I think the point he was trying to make was he thinks the majority of people wouldn't care. if there was no fans there, and they would still have.
What is he on about? Give me his hat.
Oh, here we go.
Give me his hat, because that is a ridiculous statement. That is shit. That's like saying, oh, yeah, that's like watching, I don't know, the Flintstones about a live studio audience. That'd be shit. I mean, I don't think the Flintstones had a live studio audience because it was a cartoon.
And I really think
still,
that would make the Flintstones shit. I think
it's just such a stupid argument to make. Like saying, oh, we'd still watch it without this, even if we didn't have coronavirus. It's like, well, the fans were there when coronavirus wasn't there. Just what's the point even making that statement? But I mean, generally speaking, yeah, it's worse about a crowd. And would I watch it? Probably watch the highlights on YouTube.
To be honest, I'd probably just watch. To be honest, I personally wouldn't watch it until it got maybe the last game of the season and there was like a relegation to be decided.
Like for example, darts. I mean, I know darts. It's an example of a sport where the crowd make it so much better. Like Panto. It's like Panto. That shit.
Panto.
But it's like a play, isn't it? It's like you've got heroes, you've got villains, you've got drama. That's built off the crowd. So I don't know. Yeah, I would watch it, but just the highlights probably.
You wouldn't actually watch the game, because I did this the other day. I watched the Dortmund Schalke game like here and there, but it's kind of something you'd have on like in the background. Because I had the Frankfurt Mönchengladbach game on in the background, so it was just like, you know, you don't really want to watch it. You kind of turn away for like 10 minutes. You come back and it's like, oh, there's a goal. That's great.
That is the problem. So the thing is, when I usually watch football, to be honest, a lot of the time I sit there and the game's so boring because they've decided to show me Middlesbrough Stoke on a Friday night. But I'll sit there and I'll watch, and I'll sort of have it on in the background. And then as soon as a goal flies in, you do actually get invested.
Yeah. Or even if there's a chance, it's quite exciting.
Watch the goal and then go out again. But
the only reason that happens as well is because the crowd go, oh, and you hear it like
that.
Yeah, you hear it as well.
I realise it's just Ryan Shotton doing a misled pass in the back.
Yeah.
Well, we've probably not got anything settled, have we? Let's be honest. That's what.
It's almost as if 4 people on From the Terrace Podcast
can't settle the world's football problem. Yeah.
Regan, are you listening in, Boris Johnson? Oh.
Yeah, we can't fix it. Cheers.
I was gonna say that I was gonna ask to go around and just ask everyone what you think is the best way to get this season, or maybe even next season started.
Personal opinion, the best way to finish it is then. Regan, you start off then. Go
on. I actually agree with what you said earlier, Bill. I think that from a football fan's point of view, they need to get this season done with fans in front of them. I don't care how long it takes. I think that getting this season done with all the results and leaving the table, ending it with the correct results is the best way as a football fan. But as seeing the bigger picture of it in like the economical point of view, I can see where they're coming from if they decide to have all of the games behind closed doors, like what La Liga are doing. They said that they're going to show they've made it so when they resume, they're going to have a game every single day. So every game can be shown on TV at once, like to grow their economy. From economical point of view, you can see that they want to end this season as quickly as they can, start next season behind closed doors, that they probably will, just so they can get more TV rights and more coverage. So from that point of view, they're doing the right thing economically, but as a football fan, as one of the millions, if not billions of people that support football, getting this season done in front of fans who want to watch and who, like you, Bill, and like me with my membership, have paid to see this season finish.
Well, yeah, I'm probably owed about £100.
Pay to see the season finish is, I think, for clubs, excluding money, their main priority, and I think that's how they should. I think that's how it should end.
That was a good answer, and I think obviously I agree with the point about getting the fans back. But I think the only problem with the thing of playing behind closed doors and getting this season done is that I can understand that economically it probably is the best way, but the big people at the top are assuming that football's going to be fine to come back in August and September to start a new season. What's the point in finishing this season if we can't actually come back for another season in August, September? Because to be honest, at the moment, does it really look like we're going to have stadiums of 25,000 people in August and September? Doesn't to me.
The universities in London are starting their like next year. It's in like January, I'm pretty sure.
I hope. To be honest, I wouldn't mind us doing that, because it looks like we will probably go back to university in September when we're doing online classes, which it's this sort of thing. You can't come back. I can understand having to finish this season half-assed if it's what they really need to do. You can't then just start next season half-assed as well.
No.
Lectures behind closed doors.
Behind closed. Where's the Atmos?
Where's the Atmos? Where's Sean King coming in 5 minutes late?
You just can't. You can. The lectures aren't the same when you can't hear his pen clicking every 5 seconds. Go on, Higgy and Charles. What's your thoughts then? Do you agree with how you would personally and how you personally would want it ended?
Again, I'd agree with you guys in the sense of I'd wait for this to kind of numb down a little bit, try and get the fans involved. But I think if worst case scenario, I think you play the games behind closed doors, get this season out of the way, and then you start next season whenever it's all fine and good to do so. So then there is no disputes here or there, and everyone's on the same level. Everyone starts with 0 points, and I just feel like that would be the best way for it. Just get this season out of the way as quickly as possible, even if it has to be behind closed doors.
Yeah. Is it just me who personally thinks it wouldn't even be the worst thing in the world if we managed to delay getting this season done? Say it got finished in like October, and then we did like one season where it started in like December and something, just because we got the Qatar World Cup coming up, which is going to bugger up football schedules anyway. You could sort of alter the next couple of years in terms of going in line with that, so that there would be the winter break would be the break of the football season. I don't know if that would work across Europe because of the high temperatures in the summers. I don't know if that's.
It's a mess.
Acting like I have an answer. Do you know what I mean?
I think you definitely do not start the season behind closed doors, because for clubs, I think it would really affect their season ticket prices and how many they sell, because a lot of people won't want to buy season tickets because they could be like, oh well, what's the point if I'm gonna not be able to attend like the first 8 games or something, or 10 games.
That's the problem. I've already bought my season ticket for next year at Brentford.
Yeah.
I've got no guarantee that that's going to even start, and I'm probably going to miss I might end up missing like 5 or 6 games. You don't know, do you?
And the clubs obviously have to refund you, I think, because you've missed that's so many games.
You can't. It's actually impossible. You can finish this season behind closed doors, and you can do the points per game in different leagues and everything. But you actually can't start a new season behind closed doors, because, like we've seen, the reason these League 1 and League 2 teams and National League are going to points per game is because they can't afford to do match days without fans. What is Charles doing?
Sorry, I just got a cat.
Insane.
It was like James Bond and that. Anyway.
The only reason you can't, you won't be able to start a new season because you can't start a season behind closed doors when there's teams that actually can't afford to do it behind closed doors, can you? And then you can't start the Premier League and Championship and then not start League 1 and League 2. It just bugs up the whole footballing calendar. So it's a much bigger problem than actual football, because it's down to the governments to make sure it's actually safe to go outside by September or by whatever time, really, isn't it?
I think they need to start it when there's absolutely no risk of as Boris says, a second spike, or that there's no risk at all that there's more cases or there's more deaths in this country. Once that's eliminated entirely, I think they should start maybe lower down, allowing fans at games as more of a trial. I'm not saying that sounds like I'm using supporters as guinea pigs for bigger teams.
Oh, I'd happily be a guinea pig.
just for Staines FC and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I'd happily walk down, watch a bit of Team Solent, to be honest. Like.
And then work its way up. But I think like everyone has said, you can't start behind closed doors. And was it you, Sean, that said that I whoever it said, I agree that I don't care if they start it in December and in front of everyone. or in January or something like that. As long as there's fans there and there's no risk of any more cases or deaths or anything, we can get back to football as we knew it beforehand.
We
I
can't.
don't care how long that would take.
I don't think we can really wait until there's no deaths coming. There's deaths. I think, especially, this is more just a societal thing. You can't wait until there's literally no deaths to get everything back to normal.
Or minimal, as in below the point of severe concern.
You need to get to the point where you know there's not a massive concern that there's going to be a big second spike, where there's not enough people in the world who've got it, but it's going to become a second spike. You can't wait until there's like no deaths, can you?
No, that could be like 2 years. So yeah, I misspoke on that. Yeah, until there's a minimal level of concern.
There's got to be an element of risk, isn't there?
Yeah,
that's what's the spice of life, isn't it?
Another thing that wasn't touched on here, but it was to do with players and their contracts running out in the summer.
Yeah, you're right.
Clubs have I think it was the option they could extend it without like a set fee or something. They can extend the contract like another 6 months, a year. But I don't know if that's the same case in all the leagues.
It's a legal problem though, isn't it? Because players will just say, "Well, I signed a contract until that month. I want to go." Like they can't. Yeah, that is a big issue. That is obviously an argument for finishing it now, isn't it? For getting it done behind closed doors, because there'll be a big legal mess if you wait forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I think we're done for this week, lads. Cheers, Higgy, for coming on, mate.
Hey, you didn't ask for my
problem.
Yeah, Charles was sitting there fiddling with his podcast.
Charles, have you realised we don't care about your opinion anymore?
Nah, it's a good one, right? Now listen to this. Get all the Premier League. Get all the managers and do a 20-man Hunger Games to sort out the league.
Well, who's winning that then?
Well, definitely not Roy Hodgson.
He's first gone, 100%.
Who would win? Probably
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe would win.
Arteta.
Or Sean Dyche.
Is that the
Nah, Dyche would win. He goes straight for the crossbone. He fucking
He just start levering people at the start. But like Jurgen's gone, Pep's gone.
No, I think Dyche would like kill himself through a lack of being able to eat meat and stay vegetarian.
Jack, if you could at this and then put on Twitter at Premier League or at the FA, that would be nice.
But go on, everyone do your vote for who would win. Right, first to die and the winner. Right.
Probably not appropriate during COVID-19.
I mean, we've come this far, so...
No, I reckon Hodgson would be gone first. He can't run. And then winner? I reckon it would be Solskjaer would hide for the whole.
Yeah,
he'd come out in the end. Wouldn't win though, would he? He's not a born winner.
Now, to know who's my winner, I reckon Nuno Espirito Santo wins it.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
He looks like he uses a bow and arrow, doesn't he? Like,
Daniel Farker looks a little bit like a serial killer.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't really say much, does he?
No, he doesn't.
I agree that Hodgson would definitely go first, but
the athleticism, I'm going for Lampard. I'm going Lampard for a win.
Go first.
He's got to go, isn't he? He's
go.
Almost there. He's almost like over the line, ready to go, ready to
It's
pop.
time to go.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's at least something we can decide on.
Yeah, we've decided on who will.
On that Hunger Games bombshell.
It's time to end. Cheers, Higgy.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No thanks, Regan and Charles.
Cheers.
Never a pleasure. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the From the Terrace podcast on YouTube, as well as iTunes and SoundCloud. And when you're older, don't go changing.
We'll be back soon.
Okay.